Okay, cool. All right, everyone, welcome to another edition to In the Know with Kat Bobineau. Today, my guest is very, very special to me. He is my cousin, Hamid Haqq, out in Florida, and he is a spine specialist for strikers. So, welcome to In the Know, Hamid.
Thank you for having me, Kat. Pleasure.
So, can you give us your official title?
Sure, I'm the striker, interventional spine territory manager for South Florida.
Ooh, that is a mouthful. So, can you tell us exactly what you do?
Sure, yes, I support neurosurgery, orthopedic spine surgery, interventional radiology, and interventional pain management physicians in treating conditions of the spine that cause pain, such as compression fractures or facetogenic pain, etc.
Okay, so can you give us a little background on how you actually got into that type of field?
Absolutely. I've done this for about 7 years now in three different states. I started my interest in science actually when my cousin, my beautiful cousin Kat, yourself, had
Thank
this
you.
deep passion for had this deep passion for science and applications. And myself, I was a broadcasting management major at that time, and then I decided to kind of shift that and wanted to get into sales aspect. So I sold yellow pages and sold pharmaceuticals for about 4 years of pharmaceutical sales and began with Stryker Interventional Spine in Kansas City and was able to work my way down to South Florida.
Okay, so you had a little bit of like for science and stuff from your amazing cousin Kat, and that
Yep.
actually started opening doors for you. So, how did you feel when you made that transition from broadcasting to kind of working in the STEM fields with pharmaceutical sales? Like, how was that transition for you?
Well, my first goal I like was to communicate. I like communicating and bringing information from one person to another. But in the broadcasting field, I wasn't really helping anybody. Media, I wasn't really truly helping. Getting into the pharmaceutical realm, I was able to help physicians have the details that they need for specific medications at that point in time. Had a deep passion for it, and I wanted to help out even more and have a little bit more hands-on application. Therefore, in the medical device arena, we're integral in making sure physicians have the items they need for the patients, specifically on time.
Wow. Okay, so you work primarily with physicians and surgeons, correct?
Yes,
And these are the people who are doing assessments and surgeries and administering medicine with anything that has to do with the spine.
yes. Their main goal in my realm in this with dealing with the spine is to stabilize, to treat pain coming from any specific region of the spine, and make sure none of that pain is radiating to other parts of their body. So stabilization and support and pain management of the spine itself. So what they do is amazingly complex, and they do so many other procedures. But with my procedure, it's kyphoplasty and vertebral augmentation,
Okay.
specific to compression fractures of a vertebra. So we have 27 vertebrae: cervical 7, thoracic 12, lumbar 5,
So proud of you.
and then the sacrum. Yep. And each one of those bones can collapse when we get osteoporosis, which we all might later on in life. And it's my job to make sure they have the tools they need to treat the pain and stabilize the fracture or vertebra as fast as possible. Or pain management can actually burn some of the nerves around the spine with radio
Mm-hmm.
frequency to eliminate the pain completely for a period of time.
Wow. So, and you said you've been doing that for about 7 years,
7 years now, yes, ma'am.
and how many years have you been doing it in Florida?
In Florida, about 4.5 to 5 years.
4.5
Two
to
and a half years. Yep. I started off as an associate, so I basically had a mentor, like Miyagi and Karate Kid,
yes.
right? So I was Karate Kid with less skills, and I had to pay my dues and cover the entire state of Kansas, from West Kansas, Hayes, Dodge City, hometown of White Herb, all the way to Kansas City and towards Columbia, Missouri.
Okay.
And that would be like a 5 hour drive in the morning, cover an hour long case, a 5 hour drive back home. So I would drive 10 hours a day sometimes,
Wow. Wow.
daily.
Yeah. So 5 hours a day just to do one case, to talk to one
Sometimes
person.
10 hours a day. Sometimes, yep, just one case. Sometimes two cases. I'd have to map out my day perfectly so I could strategically execute and get to each position and place in a timely manner with product or to support and service that physician as needed for the benefit of the patient.
Wow. That is amazing. So, when you were doing broadcasting, could you tell us a little bit about the experience you had with broadcasting, how it may have helped you or may not have helped you in the field you're in now?
The communications major is a great major, and for people that want to get into that field and help out. Did it help me relative to where I am now? I can't say it did. Most of what I've had to learn and master had to be through an application standpoint. I've been trained by over 100 physicians when I was just a pharmaceutical rep, just to get a clinical background specific to certain disease states. After that standpoint, going through the 2.5 years being an associate sales rep, that was integral to me just mastering a very focused, specific procedure so I could specialize in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, broadcasting helped me when I got my first job selling advertising for a year with Yellow Book USA in North Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
covering a lot of towns in North Alabama, which I got a lot of love. A lot of people down there in North Alabama and West Kansas were extremely supportive. You'd be amazed at how supportive and nurturing rural communities are. It's a beautiful thing about our country. I'll say that doesn't really get the attention they deserve,
Mm-hmm.
and hence why I never really, in in media we ignored those towns a lot. So
Okay, so communications, that major, you started along the path and then you realized that maybe that really wasn't for you. So now that you are into pharmaceutical sales and you've had all this mentorship and you've learned this one type of disease that you're helping, is that only in Florida? Do you plan to stay in Florida with that, or is this something that you can move around the nation and do?
well, that's a good question. I could do this job anywhere in the country now that with my experience level. I will say that one of my goals to get out of Kansas, as much as I loved Kansas, one of my main motivations to get out of Kansas was to get to a major city and have a more intense competition level. So I learned Spanish through Rosetta Stone, and now I'm here.
Oh, wow.
At the moment, while I'm here, I feel like I've mastered Spanish. I'm learning German just in case I would like to go abroad and do this in Europe. German is like one of the base business languages of like 8 countries in Western Europe. So long term, a training role, mentoring and training new reps in another country, I would love to do that. That's probably my long term goal. But extremely happy here and learning from some great national thought leaders as well. So that's been amazing.
Yeah, I sometimes don't think that people realize that German is a large language for business, but it's also a large language in the science realm. There's a lot of things
True.
that happen in Germany or in the German language that we get a lot of materials from. So I think German is a good language for you to learn if you were to decide you wanted to go into another country. So let's go back into, typically we go back into the history of someone, like their past, and when they're in high school, and if someone inspired them. But it seems like your inspiration came more in college and then after college. So, is there anyone in particular that inspired you once you decided to become a pharmaceutical reps, that this was really what you wanted to do and it caused you to just follow it with tunnel vision? Anyone in particular?
Anyone in particular, I would have to specifically say that there was a class, TCF 390 at the University of Alabama. I was just finishing up my football career as a walk on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had two reps from CBS, sales reps, advertising sales reps, come and talk to us. And my personality type was very specific to their personality type. And at that point, I wanted to get into the pharmaceutical realm. And they basically said, well, you'd have to pay your dues first, sell advertising, show that you can service and handle accounts. And I knew it was a stepping stone to get into the pharma realm. And from that point, everything took off. So once the passion starts, like with you in science, and as soon as you with Stephen Hawking, and I saw you, I was so proud of seeing you measure the moon
Thank you.
and since in that competition, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Taught me something right there on the spot. So it's those little moments where details and application are so strong and specific that it enhances your mind. You're able to expand your mind and just get further detail and apply it to help somebody. To help somebody in this field is the most rewarding feeling in the world. Now, these are my surgeons doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just there to provide those extra specific details, millimeter more lateral, a millimeter more medial, more or less the cement working times this long, etc. We're augmenting an end plate of a vertebral body to a certain amount.
Wow.
Those specific items at the right time are what I live for to be able to deliver for my customers, for my physicians, for the hospital, for the surgery center, and for the patient. And to me, that I live for that.
That is amazing. So, you kind of didn't answer the question though. Who was that person who like really
Who?
got you into this? Was there is there one person then? How about that? Is there one person or was it like a group effort?
That is such a well. I will say I remember you at the University of Alabama and at Stillman, and you specifically said like you were just like science all the way, boom, da. And I was like, man, I was like, I like science, I love it, but if I switch my major to this, I'm gonna 4.5 years is gonna be six and a half years, and B, those science classes they get deeper and deeper and deeper, and then from here dialing in. So I did take a shortcut to get around all that to still be in the field, but yet not have that MD behind my name, but I get to learn from him, and I've got notebooks upon notebooks of notes that I've taken. That sometimes they know I'm taking notes, sometimes they don't. But those notebooks are worth the weight in gold.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for the shout out. But when you talk about what you're working on, like working with the spine and going medial or lateral or going and talking about vertebrae and vertebral stuff, and I mean, you sound like you took the anatomy and physiology class with me when we were in college, but instead, you learned it while you were on the field. And now, I mean, you already had a love for science, so it's amazing to see that you're able to learn it on the field. And for other people and other people who might be in college or in high school to see that, you don't have to have this linear path, or maybe you don't even have to technically take a STEM class because you're going to learn it in the field if this is something you might really be interested in. So, would
Now
you
I tell you,
go ahead?
go ahead, continue.
No,
No,
I was
I'm
gonna
sorry, I
say,
interrupted
what,
you
what
there.
would you tell somebody who might be interested in pharmaceutical sales and learning something like this? What would you tell a student or anyone younger than you who
Oh,
might be interested in
okay.
this?
I've got a good answer for that. All right, I've got four little brothers,
Right.
And four brothers. I should not say little anymore. They're all in their 20s now.
Yeah.
So no disrespect to Hakeem, Hanif, Hassan, Hisham. They're great guys. Um, as the oldest brother, I do feel like my number one most important goal was to find whatever passion I could see subconsciously they had and try to help them master it or take that pathway so they were satisfied and their skill set blossomed. So,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I don't have an older brother, but I'm sure I would sometimes not want to listen to my older brother. I'd probably have a little bit of a whatever. That's natural. It's
Yes.
beautiful and it's natural. Everybody's trying to. But at the end of the day, passion, 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 passion. When I see one of my brothers that's passionate about engineering and making things since birth, and the kid's always trying to put things together. You can see that he's mechanical, and that would be something that he'd gravitate towards and probably dominate. Some are more creative and artistic, using the right hemisphere of their brain more or less, and wanting to create, stop time, and get in the moment and like just create masterpieces, graphic design, etc. That's their goal. Now, I would have to say the most important thing that I can do, or that any one of us can do, is for those entering high school, college, finding out that passion and just kind of letting, not pushing them in that direction, but letting them know, hey, this is your passion. You're great at this. Oh my God, I can see you right now being a neurosurgeon, taking care of patients with brain tumors, cancers. I can see you right now being an orthopedic spine surgeon and fixing these fractures with an osteoconductive cement, very specific to that fracture. It's just we're in the game of finding people's passions and letting them blossom. Some
Mm-hmm.
countries actually find that at an early age and shift them in a certain regard.
Oh shit. Looks like we lost Hammett for a second. See what's going on here.
Hello?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Last
Yeah,
I was like,
had a
oh,
phone,
okay.
had a phone call come through.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So anyways, at the end of the day, we gotta just help people find that passion at a young age,
Right.
and I guess teachers can see that sometimes, and we.
Somebody is really trying to get in touch with you. Oh, I'm gonna have to edit. Okay. Guess we'll wait a second.
That's the last time that'll happen. I had a
All right.
I
Um.
answered and shifted them off to the side this time. Great. So,
Okay. So, all right. Let's get back into what we were talking about. So, if you were to identify a student who would be great at doing the type of sales that you're doing when it comes to working with physicians and surgeons, what type of student would it be? Would it be someone who has a passion in communications and talking with people, someone who might have more of a passion in science, or do you feel like it'd be a combination? Like, what would you look for someone to do the type of job you do?
all right, I would want someone to be somewhat flexible. In other words, they would dip their hands in other fields to find out what they're like. I would like somebody that wanted to get into med school, that had those aspirations, but had an expressive personality, maybe an expressive and analytical personality with a little bit of driver. So that way they would master the science, find the passion for the field that they're in, and at that point, uh, that expressive and that driver aspect of them would be able to just deal with people
Okay.
in general.
Okay. So
So I would
some
look for those personality traits.
okay, so someone who's kind of who's who has that who has that intelligence for the medical terms, the medical career, but also is very personable, very outgoing, someone who can go out and talk to people about all kinds of things. That's what you're looking for in this type of field.
Yeah, a quick learner that's expressive. If they jumped into science, any science major or medical major, or try to get with a medical background, that would be a plus. But more or less, someone that just has good attention to detail, is expressive, uh, great communication skills, and passion and work ethic. Anybody can turn into anybody with a good bit of passion and work ethic.
Oh,
That is so potent.
okay.
Passion.
So,
Pow.
let's change gears just a little bit and talk about with this type of position that you have. You know, I know you, so I know some of the things that you do outside of work. So, what would you like to share with the audience that you get to do outside of work?
Beautiful question. Sometimes I like to go to Dairy Queen and just have ice cream.
Okay.
Kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What I like to do now, besides working out a lot, because it keeps my mind sharp and keeps that feel of life or death sharp. You're running a mile. You're like, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm going down. I like to play guitar.
Okay.
I love playing the acoustic guitar, trying to learn a new song. It's challenging. It's relaxing. The details involved in the muscle memory. It's like challenging and relaxing at the same time. So that's what I like to do
Okay.
in my spare time.
Anything else?
Well, here's the thing with Striker. I'm kind of all in with this company, and at first it was very stressful, but now I'm so obsessed with performance in this field that I have a hard time in my time off and my relaxing time to not jump back into work, read this clinical article that I just had a question about, to get more details so I can be ready when I get put on the spot for a question where I don't have a clear answer. So that's kind of where I'm at now. It's in the realm headed towards aspirations towards mastery of this field is what my goal is now.
So then, what would be the pinnacle for working at Striker? Like, what is that ultimate goal that you have for there?
The ultimate goal that I have here, besides metrics, awards, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
is literally to have as many people in my industry tell me that I'm a great mentor. I've helped them out. My goal is literally almost the perfect case, the perfect kyphoplasty. Where we relieve the pain and we try to restore the anatomy. In other words, if a compression fracture, a vertebra is compressed,
Mm-hmm.
it's fractured like a square cardboard box that's compressed.
Right.
To get in there, with our balloon, kind of lift up that implate as much as possible to stabilize the anatomy and to get some cement in at the right time, whether it's our silica osteoconductive cement, Cortos, so it can stabilize that fracture and actually bind to the bone, or our PMMA cement to just get the perfect kyphoplasty done. 98% of them are great, but at the end of the day, I mean, I there's just nothing wrong with trying to make perfect better. It's a good thing to chase because I'll always be chasing it, and it's just gonna make everybody better.
Awesome. So, your ultimate goal with working at Stryker is to make sure those who have osteopain in their spine is actually comfortable.
Yep, to make those patients that have a visual analog scale of pain, like a scale from 1 to 10. Oh, it's a 10. I want that down to a 1, 0. After the case, oh my God, I feel great. On a
Mm-hmm.
lateral X-ray, MRI. So let's say the patients were taking a film of their spine from a lateral view, looking at this angle. It's called sagittal plane. That we've restored the anatomy or restored that kyphosis, that mean kyphotic angle, somewhat millimeters matter, and when we can do that, we can take care of the function, the pain, and the anatomy, the trifecta. Boom.
Well, that sounds amazing. I'm so very proud of you. And
And one of our
go ahead.
go ahead, but
No, no, no.
one of our main mottos at Stryker is working together with our customers to make healthcare better,
Okay.
more efficient, less costly, just dialed in. So we take that seriously, very seriously.
Okay. So what I was gonna say was basically we were coming towards the end of our time, and I wanted to give you any last thing you wanted to say. I don't know if you wanted to add anything extra to that than saying you guys are making people feel good and working with the average person. But is there anything else you want to say to anyone listening about what you're doing, how to get involved in it, or anything of that nature?
I want to tell everybody out there just to find your passion, follow it, get better at it, keep digging deeper. I love my company Stryker because of the fact that if there's something out there that we think or a physician thinks is a little bit better, in time we will either master that or do that even better. Like the Cortos, the silica cement for our vertebra, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
talking level one data. Level one data is the best data that you could have clinically. 2 year follow up on a large amount of patients, and to the fact that we actually now have that data shows our company's passion to dig deeper and to take something that was already good and make it great and work together with our customers to make healthcare better. And it's just got to keep doing it. Got to win, execute, boom, bam, bing.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned into this episode of In the Know with Kat Bobineau. If you have any questions or anything you want to talk to Hamid Hawk about, you can send them to me and I will send it on to him and we can see if we can get those answered for you. So, again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.